We're here again in Saskatchewan, and today I'm here with Britt. You may recognize her from Instagram as Investor Girl Britt. At the age of 27, she's been able to accumulate 13 properties over 9 years. And the first property she ever bought was $25,000.
Hey everyone, so welcome to our current live-in flip, our house hack that we're doing. This used to be a big wall right here, and then the door was about right here. So it was very closed off before, and now it's a lot more open concept. Yeah, so this is a custom range hood I built. So it came actually in a kit, and then I just finished it with drywall. So I did all that myself, just sprayed it black. We're expecting around $2,500 rent for the upstairs, and then we'll live and house hack in the basement. So we'll live down there, renovate the suite, and rent out the upstairs.
And you should be able to live for free, right?
That's right.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. And can you believe it's been over a year since myself and Peter took a road trip to Saskatchewan to go visit some amazing real estate investors? Remember, we saw Epic Alliance, we saw Investor Girl Britt, Fraser Naibo. It was so much fun, and a lot more too. But today we're going to be talking about Investor Girl Britt. And really, it was amazing getting to meet up with her, see how she's taken such a hands-on approach to her flip projects, and hearing her very unique start into becoming a real estate investor that includes food poisoning. I'm going to assume a lot of investor stories don't start with food poisoning, but this one does. But anyways, we went back into the vault, found some footage that we've never released before, as well as just grabbed our favorite moments from all our previous Investor Girl Britt videos. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you're enjoying these compilation videos in general. Let us know in the comment section who should we be making a video of next, and otherwise just smash that like button and let's jump into it. You guys know how much I love house hacking. So in today's video, Britt's going to walk us through Investor Girl Britt, I should say, from Instagram. You guys probably follow her already, but if you don't, we'll throw a link in the video description down below. But Britt's going to walk us through her house hack. So obviously it's still a work in progress.
It is.
First of all, thank you for being willing to show us your work in progress. And let's run through it.
Yeah, come on in. Hey everyone, so welcome to our current live-in flip, our house hack that we're doing. So this is our little entryway here, and we did replace all of the windows, and it's all this old plaster walls as well. So we skimmed out all the walls, replaced their windows, did nice trim to kind of mimic what it was before. We actually got all these windows at Habitat for Humanity for $700 for all of the windows, which is insanely good deal.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So then here's our little living room. Sorry, everything's kind of a big mess, but it's coming along. Little touch-ups here and there. I did this brick backsplash here for the entertainment wall, so that was a really fun project. Pretty low price point for this as well. I think it was like $3 a square foot, so it's like not too bad. And then if you do it yourself, it's pretty cheap. Yeah. And then have this extra bench. I like built-in seating as well wherever we could do it, so lots more places for people to sit if this is going to be an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then fridge is kind of in the middle of the room, but we are putting it in the back there. So this used to be a big wall right here, and then the door was about right here. So it was very closed off before, and now it's a lot more open concept. It's a great place for people to sit when someone's making supper, something like that. So yeah, it's a great space. So these are all original hardwood floors. We are going to refinish them. It is a little bit tricky when you do take out walls, but we're able to salvage some from closets and things like that, so we can patch it up.
Nice. Yeah, I know that in the past we've had this and we weren't able to salvage them, so we ended up like buying new, tying it in, and we had to kind of go with a really dark stain in order to kind of hide it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thankfully it was what people wanted in that neighborhood. But I love being able to salvage old hardwood if you can, especially in these, you know, old character homes. That really adds to the whole package. Yeah,
we definitely try to save everything we possibly can. All the old registers, like any little detail we can, we will save it.
Awesome. So then moving into the kitchen.
Yeah, so these are all concrete counters. Did all of this. There's lots of videos on Instagram on how I did these, but it was also a really great project because it cost about $500 to do all this area. So it's quite a bit cheaper if you're comparing to granite quartz, something like that. But yeah, very happy with how these turned out.
And so what sort of like labor or time are you investing into making these?
So this was it was one full day of like pouring, and then the ceiling is probably another day. So probably one full day is what it took.
That's not bad at all. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm
and
really
so
happy with
there's
it.
a story behind this thing.
Yeah, so Blanco's been a partner of mine. They're amazing. They obviously create amazing sinks, farmhouse sinks, and I love this thing. I've never had a sink like this, so I'm gonna be sad when we have to rent it out. But yeah, they've been a great partner through Instagram, and yeah, really fun company to work with.
Nice. And so this is a custom hood. I think I saw on Instagram that you were building it.
Yeah, so this is a custom range hood I built. So it came actually in a kit, and then I just finished it with drywall. So I did all that myself, just sprayed it black. Pretty happy with how that turned out. And they cost around $400, so a pretty good price point for what you get.
And so is this drywall here too?
Yeah, it's all drywall.
So how difficult is it to have it be kind of angular like this?
Well, it's 1/4 inch drywall, and so you wet it down, you bend it like this, and then I just did the corners with kind of a bendable bead. So, I mean, drywall is not the easiest job, but I've been doing it long enough now that I've kind of gotten the hang of it a little bit. Like all the ceiling walls, this is all popcorn, water damage before, so it took a lot of work, but I'm really happy with the results.
Awesome. And so right now this is a 3-bed, 1-bath on the main floor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Below in the basement you actually have an entire other suite?
Yeah. So we have a 2-bedroom suite in the basement, and then this is up here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then also, guys, did you see numbers? You guys love numbers.
Why not get into the numbers, right? They're the most important. So the purchase price for this place was $170. We actually found this on a back pocket deal, so our realtor was real quick, and this is the perfect property for us. It's exactly the neighborhood we were looking for, price point we were after, but we had to be really quick with it. We had to make a decision right then and there, like we want to buy this or not, because there was other offers on the table. So it's great to have a good realtor that's looking out for you and really on the ball with finding those deals.
So did you have to make this a firm offer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I can't remember how we did it now, but we had to do cash, no conditions, but we were pre-approved, that's what it was. So we were pre-approved, it was no conditions, and we just were able to get it done.
Awesome. And so obviously this project's still mid-completion, but your current renovation budget's looking at $70,000?
Yeah, around $70,000, but then it's going to be 2 suites, so we're able to actually live in the basement. We'll rent out upstairs. So yeah, we'll be in it for $240,000. After repair value, according to the comps around the area, $380,000. Loan to value there, $304,000. So we'll be able to pay ourselves back completely, and with a little bit of extra, $64,000 that we're able to take out. Just a little. We can buy 2 houses with that now.
You can buy 2 $30,000 houses.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then so the plan here is to Airbnb this, right?
Yeah. So that's what we've never done an Airbnb before. We have done short-term rentals, but never an Airbnb. So I'm really excited to get into it. I think it's going to be perfect. And we're expecting around $2,500 rent for the upstairs, and then we'll live and house hack in the basement. So we'll live down there, renovate the suite, and rent out the upstairs.
And you should be able to live for free, right?
That's right.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys have heard me talk about it on my YouTube channel again and again, but the average Canadian is spending 30 to 40% of their take-home pay on shelter.
Right.
And so if you can find a way to live for free, you know, the average Canadian saving 10%. So you can all of a sudden save 50% of your income if you can just figure out a way to get your shelter for free. House hacking with an Airbnb suite is like one of my favorite ways to do it these days. It's a great way to maximize just your gross rents and your net income from an available suite.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So let's dive into the basement suite and just check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the basement suite here. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and then their own laundry as well. So we're obviously at the drywalling stage. So it's coming along. This is my favorite stage because it just looks nice and clean, and we're good to go.
Yeah, the moment you put up drywall, then you're like, oh, I have been doing work.
Yeah, exactly. It's exciting. But this place, it is a 100-year-old house, and the foundation was in perfect condition. I've never seen such a great foundation with that age of a house. So we're very happy.
Like, I love the basement too. You got great ceiling heights, so you got lots of space. It doesn't necessarily feel like you're, you know, in a dank little basement.
Yeah.
And like a huge open space here. So I'm guessing I see a bunch of electrical boxes along there. That's going to be our kitchen.
There's the kitchen. So we're standing in kind of the living, dining area here. We have a bedroom right there to the back, and then the kitchen will be along that wall. So then we get into the second bedroom, my laundry room right now, actually. So second bedroom here. Ceiling height's a little bit lower just because of our heating and ventilation system. But then this is the size, pretty decent size as well. Huge closet over here. And then we have our bathroom, which is kind of the bathroom that we're using. It's so fancy. But that's what you have to do when you're living in a renovation. So sometimes this is also your kitchen sink. It happens a lot that way. So then this is our little laundry as well. Just enough.
Awesome, yeah, I think this is going to make a great apartment. And again, I just want to really hit home on, you know, you're putting in the sacrifices, the efforts in order to build this real estate empire. And that's included house hacking kind of throughout your journey, right? Property number 2 was a house hack as well.
Exactly. Pretty much every house is a house hack for us. We haven't had like a principal residence where we've just like been able to settle yet, but one day. But we're happy to make those sacrifices, live in the van, do whatever we've got to do.
So live in the van?
Oh yeah,
Can you
done a lot of that.
Extend upon that a bit?
Well, living in the van, like it just depends. If we're on our out-of-town properties, we will sleep in our van. We'll just, that's where we live.
And so like, have you converted it into kind of like a living space, or is it literally just a mattress in the back of the van?
Just a mattress, but something we really want to do is convert an old school bus into like a little house. So we could just drive it along to each property and not have to worry about living in this dust and dirt and whatever, which I'm used to at this point, but it would be nice to have a space where it's just clean and kind of a little sanctuary.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again so much for taking the time to show us around your principal residence, your house hack, your current renovation project. Fantastic. The work you do is just amazing.
Well, thank you so much.
And if you guys want to find out more about the work Britt's doing, Instagram's probably the best way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so
I share a lot. My page is at Investor Girl Britt. So yeah, lots of tips, tricks, all my renovation work. So hopefully it helps you guys out.
Awesome. I'll throw a link in the video description down below so you guys can check it out. But if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and otherwise remember, house hacking. House hacking's the way to get control of your financial future. Just go to it. Do you want to get control of your financial life? Do you want to crush it in real estate with wholesaling? Do you want to join my full-time team of wholesalers like Mike? Or Shahir? Or what about Tyler? Or Diego? Or what about Amar? Alright, and what do we do, boys?
We make offers, we buy fast, never gonna miss a deal cause we pay cash. Offers, 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 deals, deals, deals. Tell us, Mr. Seller, what price do you feel? Cause we're Southwestern's biggest source of deals. Boom!
So if you guys want to crush it with wholesaling, you need to join my team. And down below, video description, there's all the links you need. What is up, you guys? We're here again in Saskatoon, and today I'm here with Britt. You may recognize her from Instagram as Investor Girl Britt. And in today's video, we're going to discuss how, at the age of 27, she's been able to accumulate 13 properties over 9 years. And the first property she ever bought was $25,000. You're going to learn all about this and a lot more in today's video. Let's get into it. First of all, thank you, Britt, for taking the time to sit down and talk about your background.
Of course.
And so I think the funnest part for us is just let's dive into it. So you bought your first property at 18?
That's right, 18 years old.
There's got to be a backstory there.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, I grew up, my mom's a real estate investor, so when I was a kid, I would help her out with the renovations, doing a lot of like painting or flooring or whatever she wanted us to do. So my brother and I helped her out with a lot of her renovations, and I just always thought I always wanted to buy a rental property. So when I was 18, I bought my first one, and the story behind getting the money to be able to do that is kind of funny, but, or kind of different and interesting one anyway. But when I was 6 years old, we were at an office Christmas party, and everyone at the restaurant got extremely bad food poisoning, and that was because they cooked the turkeys halfway through, left them overnight, and then cooked them the rest of the way the next day. So everyone who got really sick,
that's a bad idea.
it's a very bad idea. Never do that. So everyone who got really sick got an insurance payout. So when I was 18, I got that money and I bought my first house for $25,000.
And so, do you mind let's talk a little bit about what that deal looked like. So, like, was it an actual $25,000 house, or
Yes.
was that your down? It was an actual.
It was
$25,000.
actually $25,000, not a down payment. The whole house, yeah.
And so let's give some context then. So we're shooting this right now in Saskatoon, which
Yeah.
is in the province of Saskatchewan, which is
Yeah.
in Canada. Wikipedia, you
Yeah,
guys will
you'll
figure it
figure
out. But so you're investing in smaller towns outside
Yeah.
of Saskatoon?
Yeah, so I have family members in that city that I bought that first property in, so it felt safe. My mom also owned property in that city, so I'm like, let's do this one. And I think I was lucky because I got a great tenant right off the bat. I didn't do a huge renovation, but we just fixed a few things up here and there. Got a great tenant, but I mean, you know how it is when you buy your first one, it's a little scary, you don't really know what you're doing, but
Yeah.
I think the best way to go about it is just to jump in and then kind of figure things out as you go along.
And so did you mainly lean upon your mother as far as resources, or were you reading any books, blogs, podcasts, any other sources of information when you first started?
When I first started, I didn't really have any other information. All I knew is that I wanted this second stream of income because I knew my mom, like that's what she did for a living.
Gotcha.
So she had this rental income and buyer, and I was like, I want one of those one day too.
That's awesome.
But I think the best way for me personally, just like getting in there and learning, doing everything hands-on. That's
Yeah.
my favorite way to go about it.
That's awesome. So do you remember the details on that first property? Like what did you rent it out for? Do you remember what you cash flowed?
Yeah, so we rented it out for $850 a month. So cash flow, and I bought it in cash, of course.
Yeah.
And some of that money, like it was a bit from the food poisoning, but then I also had 4 jobs and I was working my ass off.
So you were hustling.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a server at that time, just making lots of money in tips, and I just like worked so hard to try to get this house. And so bought it in cash. Still own it today, still have great renters in there. Now I think the rent's up to $950. So a little bit of an increase, but
That's awesome.
yeah.
And so what sort of so you're probably like $200-300 a month in expenses?
Yeah,
Would that be?
very low. Yeah.
So you're
it
able
would be
to,
about that.
you're able to cash flow,
Uh-huh.
$400, $500, $600 a month from this one property.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's really fun. And then the next property we got was in the city, and we house hacked that one, which I think is a great way to
Yes.
start out as well.
Mhm.
So lived in the basement, rented out the 3 bedrooms upstairs. It was short term, so we furnished it.
Okay.
And I own this place with my brother. So we furnished it and rented out short term. And yeah, it's been a great property for us as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you do a lot of your own renovations, right?
Mhm.
Do you mind,
Yeah.
let's dive into how did you get comfortable doing it? How did you learn those skills? And yeah.
Well, I think I learned a little bit growing up, so I felt really comfortable around the renovation side of things, and I always just loved it. Like I love turning this ugly rundown property into something beautiful and someplace someone will want to live. So it's my favorite part. I absolutely love it. I learned a lot actually through YouTube and through Instagram and just asking tons of questions. Working for people for free is another great way to do it. Like if you just want to learn, like to get these renovation skills.
So I think that's huge. And like I personally have got a lot of value by offering to work for free. And I've discussed it in some other YouTube videos, but I'd love to hear, have you done that? And can you give us an example?
Yeah, well, I mean, working for my mom was a good one too. Like I would just work with like tradespeople. So if it was a tiler, for example, I'd go to different job sites to kind of see what they're up to and kind of learn a few skills. But I think the best way for me was to do it on my own property and to just really get hands-on and learn a lot online. Like that was probably the quickest way I learned, because you could do a few jobs here and there, but if you don't have your own project at home, it's like you know, you kind of have to be fully involved.
And so fast forwarding to present day, you're now 27 and have 13 properties. And you're doing this full time. So what's a day in the life of Britt look like now?
Well, pretty much wake up, I sleep just over there, and then I walk to work just over there, and just renovations all day. We also do all the property management, do all the paperwork, everything like that. So we're starting to slowly get into hiring some of that stuff out so we can grow bigger. But at this point, it's just renovation work every day, and that's what I love to do every day, so I think I'll do that forever. I'll always be doing a project. It's my favorite thing.
That's great. And so between property 1 and property 13, were you just taking a property at a time? Did you have like a goal or a vision board or a roadmap? How do you approach like growing your real estate portfolio?
Yeah. Well, I really, like 2 years ago, I took a 3-day workshop, so I did a course, and then I was like, wow, this is mind-blowing, because obviously with my mom growing up, I kind of knew here and there, like I knew it was a great idea. I'm like, I can make this money in my sleep, right? Like this is what I want to do. But I didn't know how to do it, and it took me a really long time to even figure out that this was like a career that I could do at this age, because I really didn't think it was possible before. So I went to school, got my power engineering degree, and I thought that was the best way to make that income so I could afford these mortgages and all that sort of thing. But then after doing a course and then discovering some podcasts and reading a lot of books, I just decided I wanted to jump in.
That's
and awesome. I think like having this experience when I was younger too, like I didn't have a lot of fear around it. So like buying all these properties, I was just so excited about it. I didn't have that fear holding me back, which I understand, because if you've never done it before, if you weren't around it as a kid, like it's hard.
Yeah, and especially the fact that someone in your support network, your mom, had already done real estate investing.
Exactly.
I think it's really important that people realize that like we're the sum of our inputs. And so if you have a lot of people around you that are negative about real estate investing, whether they're just like that's from their gut feeling, or maybe one experience in the past where they got burned, you need to really be careful about who you're taking advice from. You were taking advice from someone that was actually out there doing it. Exactly. And so that's really powerful and extremely important.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone that's looking to start their real estate journey now?
Yeah. Well, if you're starting now, like I really like the idea of house hacking, because you could buy a principal residence and rent out some rooms here or there. Like it's all about sacrifice too. Like I'll sleep in my van. I don't get like to make money. I mean, you do what you got to do when you're first starting out, because it is hard. You don't have a lot of cash. You're just learning. It's like this huge, crazy whirlwind. It's very confusing. I know that. I feel that even now, like just growing. Yeah. But I mean, I know it's so hard in the beginning. It's just one of those things you can't give up on it. And even if you have a really bad experience, like with a tenant or something like that, it's just there's bumps in the road. And I think if you go in expecting that, like expecting them to ruin your floor, you have to redo it. That's happened to me. It's just it happens. I think if you go in with the mindset that it is going to happen, I don't know, you won't be as disappointed, and you'll just be able to keep going, even though it gets really tough sometimes.
So I know a lot of people, one of the things that holds them back from getting into real estate investing is concern about what the worst case scenario is. So you've been an investor now for 9 years. What's been the worst case scenario for you?
I think we've been pretty lucky with a lot of things. Like things that used to make me really upset at the beginning don't even faze me anymore. Like the situation, I just put brand new floors in, worked really hard to make this place nice, and then the tenant like basically ruined them, got a bunch of pets in we didn't know about, and had to redo the floors. And it sucked, but then it's like whatever, you just do it and move on. So we haven't had like a huge issue, but I mean at the beginning that was a big issue for me, and it was very upsetting. But now it's like it's nothing. It's $1,000. It's fine.
Okay, great. I was going to ask what the cost was. And I think that's what's really important, is that you actually start, applying monetary value to these worst case scenarios. I know when I first started investing in real estate, so many people would bring up like random problems, right? They'd be like, oh, like what if it turns out you need a new roof? Or what if it turns out you need to redo the electrical? And with time and experience, one of the jokes I have with one of my money partners is everything that's not structural or foundation is a $5,000 problem or less.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, oh, you need a new furnace. $5,000 will probably take care of it. Oh, you need a new roof. Probably $5,000 will take care of it. And so once you start kind of like figuring out what your worst case scenario is, it's a lot easier to now approach that dragon, because it turns out it's just like a tiny little lizard.
Exactly. And it does come with experience, but if you're watching this and you're just getting started, like just expect it, and then you'll be fine.
So what resources would you recommend someone that's starting out in real estate now go to? Like any books, podcasts? Where should they turn?
Well, I love Bigger Pockets. That's one that I've been on. My episode is 320, so that's exciting. But that one I've been listening to for years, and so that's a really good one. I read lots of audiobooks, like crazy amounts.
Yeah.
But I really like 4-hour work week. Shed poor dad is an obvious one.
I was just about to say, this might be the first video didn't come up, but there we are.
I shouldn't have said it. I should have went with it. Yeah, I'll have to look at my list now, but there's just so many out there. I'm gonna have to come up with I'm gonna have to get my phone out.
No problem. So we kind of know where you came from, where you are today. What's the future hold?
Yeah, well, the future, so right now most of our units are single family homes or duplexes, but I do want to get into multifamily investing, so having the bigger buildings, just for management wise, and the numbers still work, so we could grow our portfolio that way instead of having like 100 little houses everywhere. I think it just makes more sense to have a big building. And yeah, so that's what we're looking into. We're looking into money partners and getting some more partners in on our deals, because right now it's all of our own money, all of our own work and everything. So looking to hire out a little bit more and get those money partners in.
Awesome. And so in addition to being like a real estate investor, someone that takes on and renovates their own projects, you also do a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you mind just kind of talking about like what it is on Instagram and maybe what business value or you know why you decide to put out all that content on Instagram?
Well, Instagram's been amazing for me in my business. I have been able to partner with a lot of big brands, so Rockwell, HGTV Canada, Blanco, like lots of these big partners, and now I'm like, they send you products to promote their stuff. You could even make cash flow. It's like a second stream of income if you do it the right way. So, and it's just so fun for me. My biggest thing is I want to help people, and I want to help people learn, and you know, it's such a great network. So I met some amazing people through there. I love to learn from other people. I love to teach people. So it's been a lot of fun.
So we've kind of discussed the fact that you're doing a lot of your investments out of town. And in a different video, I think we even touched upon one's like 4-hour drive away, right?
Yeah.
So how has that been managing from afar? I know when I first started investing in real estate, people were like, I hope you like unclogging toilets at 2 a.m.
Right.
Have you had to drive 4 hours to unclog a toilet?
Not so much. Like, it is tricky, and when I was first starting, I was still working full-time, so I was working a job 40 hours a week, then I would go on the weekends to this property 4 hours away. Like, it was hard. Like, I'm not going to say any of this was easy, because it's not, but you do what you got to do, right? So we were willing to drive this 4 hours on the weekend to do the renovations, and after the renovations are done, like, it's honestly been pretty easy to manage, because it's like you have a toilet situation, then you call a plumber. You know, like, everything we've done from a distance, we haven't had a situation where we had to go out of town like in an emergency. I mean, it could happen, and that's what we have to do, but for the most part, there's lots of people in these towns looking for work, so they'll do something like $20. Could you go check on the property, something like that, or mow the grass, whatever it ends up being. So there's a lot of people. Facebook is a great way to do it too. There's lots of groups that are local to the community. So if you have to post an ad for whatever it ends up being, like you want someone to mow your lawn, so you just post the ad, and it happens that way. Same with finding tenants. Like, it's been easy. We don't even have to go out to the property every time, because we have lock boxes out there, so if they want to view, they can go view. We don't have to be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So a lot of my audience, they haven't bought the first property yet. People are stuck in analysis paralysis, or they're just, you know, something's holding them back. Can you provide maybe one tip or one piece of advice you would give to a new investor?
Yeah, well, first of all, to all you new investors, I'm so excited for you. But I know, like, at the beginning, it is very intimidating, and it is easy to get stuck in that analysis paralysis. So just the best way, as long as you know, like, you're not going to get totally screwed over, like, just jump in. Because, like, think of those worst case scenarios that we were talking about. Kind of expect them, then you won't be so disappointed when they happen. And then you just got to jump in and do it. And a great thing to do, like, I love doing the renovation work, of course, but I listen to podcasts. I'm learning as I'm working. So that's been amazing for me too, because I'm being productive on my property, painting, doing whatever, but listening to my podcast, listening to my books, learning as I'm working.
Yeah, I love that. The first year that I quit my job and did real estate full time, I spent so much time doing the renovations myself and just cranking out podcasts and audiobooks. And like, it's honestly a really enjoyable experience once you get into that, like, that flow state.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but it's worth it. You'll be happy you did it.
Okay, so if people want to find out more or reach out to you, what's the best way to get in contact?
Best way is Instagram at Investor Girl Britt. That's my main platform. That's where I'll see your messages. I'll try to get back to you. Get a few, but yeah, that's the best way.
Awesome. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and we'll see you in the next video. At the start of 2016, 4 years ago, I literally was a ghost on social media. Back in 2016, no one knew who I was. No one other than maybe my parents and best friends knew I was a real estate investor.
In my real estate business now, I legit only sell on social media. I do not sell anything else. I don't care about a sign. I don't print off any pieces of paper and hand it to you. Only social media. I've built my entire real estate agent business off social media.
Over the course of one single Instagram live video where I was walking through a property, I was actually able to raise $80,000.
Today, 4,000 to 5,000 people watch me every single day on YouTube. 1,000 people will watch my stories on Instagram. You know, over 500 will watch my stories on Facebook. I just envision that as, how could I possibly talk to 5,000 people a day one-on-one?
People lend me money for my real estate investments. If you didn't know, myself and Matt McKeever are in the apartment buying business right now, and we're buying a lot of units. So people lend us money for renovations, for deposits, and we pay interest on that. And I often share the interest payments on Instagram, which leads to more people reaching out to me wondering how they can get involved. And because of that, I was able to raise almost $1 million within the last 90 days.
Basically taking this business from zero to now we've done over $1.4 million in sales this year, and it's all been through social media. I've been actually able to attract all 6 of my top performing wholesalers and my back of house staff through social media, okay? All of it has been done through there and by showing the process.
The printing press, tele and radio communications, the internet, and then social media. These are the 4 big media revolutions that just changed the game as we know it. And right now, I'm in a giant land grab to try and get my hands on as much of the social media attention world as possible.
If you guys are not on social media, you have to do it. I don't care if you're a restaurant, you're an insurance agent, you're a real estate agent, you need to be on social media. It's the easiest way to branch out and talk to so many people.
If there was only one thing I could tell you guys, the one thing I would tell you is start today. Okay, yesterday was the best time to start. In fact, when you first even thought about your business idea, that was the best time to start. But the next best time is right now. If you start posting and start publishing your story today, I guarantee you, you will have results from social media so long as you stay consistent. So come and get your social proof.
We're back in Saskatoon, and today I'm joined by Britt, who you maybe recognize from Instagram as Investor Girl Britt. She's a jack of all trades, capable of taking on any renovation project. You're 27 with 13 properties, and you bought a house for $28,000, which we're going to discuss in today's video. All that and more, let's get into it. $42,000 for a house. Do I have that right, Britt?
It's correct.
Okay, so in today's video, we're going to dive into the numbers. You can see we've already got it laid out. I know the fans are going to have a ton of questions about, first of all, what does $42,000 buy? Where in the world are we buying? And then let's walk through it.
Yeah, so rural Saskatchewan is kind of where we invest, and we bought this place for $42,000. It's about an hour outside of the city we live in, so we really like to kind of get out and explore different markets.
Yeah.
And so our renovation cost $30,000. We pretty much fully gutted. Like, the bones are really great on this place, but just needed a little bit of an update.
Paint a picture, like how many beds and baths are we talking?
This one's 4 beds, 2 baths.
Oh wow, that's actually like a good size too.
1,400 square feet.
Yeah. Okay. And so what age of construction are we talking?
It's 100 years old.
Okay, century home.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So some cool character as well.
Yeah. And so $42,000, can you finance that? What does that look like?
So we bought this one with a personal line of credit, so paid cash, I guess, because the banks won't finance something like this with the low price point and like how much renovation work was required, they wouldn't finance. So we bought it on our personal line of credit.
Gotcha. Yeah, 'cause I know I've heard, at least for Canadian lenders, that usually it's around the $60,000 to $80,000 is where it becomes possible to finance it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're 72,000 all into the deal.
Yeah.
ARV 131.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Pretty great result.
How did you figure out, like, was this what you were expecting for your ARV when you started, or do you mind walking us through that?
Yeah, well, that is what we expected. Actually, our numbers were pretty much exact what we expected to spend on the renovation and then what we thought of the ARV, because we did look at our comparables beforehand just to make sure we could pull all that money out and then some.
Yeah, and so you guys do a lot of the work yourself, right?
Yeah, that's the
any
thing.
Any idea, like, the number of hours or what you would attribute to your, like, labor being worth?
Well, this was about 6 months, and
Yeah.
labor, I don't know the hours, a lot,
Yeah.
a ton of hours, but it pretty much was a full gut, and then the exterior as well, so we did everything. But yeah, lots of work, but it was really fun, and I love being hands-on with the renovation, and I love learning these skills. So it was a huge learning curve for me, and I did a lot of the stuff myself, so it was fun.
And
It was
so
a
this
good
was
project.
project number 9, right?
Yeah.
So you've already got some renovation experiences,
Exactly.
obviously. Do
Yeah.
you mind just kind of sharing with the audience, like, what level of renovation experience do you have?
Well, pretty much we do everything. So we do demolition, we do insulation, vapor barrier, floors, painting, everything.
So you're
Like,
comfortable
absolutely
pretty much
everything.
tackling any job?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Any job, I can do it.
Awesome. So when you're getting the property appraised, is there anything special that you're doing? Like, are you providing comps to the appraiser, or do you just leave it up to fate? What does that look like?
Well, this one, actually, the appraiser just came in. It was pretty fair to us, like from what we've seen, like that was pretty much exactly what we were thinking. So, I mean, we thought it was pretty fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess I actually forgot, was this on the market or private?
This one was on the market. So it was listed for $49,500, and it was actually a big owned property. So we got it down a little bit, but they didn't budget a whole ton. I think we offered maybe $35,000. So got it to 42.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so then we have the loan to value 80% because now you were appraised at a value high enough that you can actually get a traditional mortgage.
Exactly.
And then so equity out 32,000. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is more than just like a pure burr. This is like an amazing burr.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with that because this amount actually paid for our next house. So it was, yeah, these numbers just work so great for us.
And then do you mind just walking us through what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so now we get $1,100 rent. Tenants pay all utilities. We have great tenants in there now, and it's quite easy to find. We also do ghost ads beforehand just to make sure we can get that number, because we don't want to get this mortgage on it and then not be able to get the rent we thought we could. So did the ghost ads, made sure that we could get that amount, and our expenses with this mortgage included is $730. So we are cash flowing positively at $370.
That's an amazing return on investment. So do you mind breaking down for us, what's the difference renting a property in a small town versus like a larger city?
Yeah.
So like, does it sit vacant longer, you know?
Well, I've actually found in my experience it rents quicker and tenants do stay longer than they do in the city. There's lots of competition in the city where I live, the main city, Saskatoon, where I live now. So there's a lot of competition here. In the smaller centers, like a lot of the time, there's not a lot of nice places to rent. So we put in that extra effort, like do nice backsplashes and everything like that.
Yeah.
So we do find really good quality tenants.
And the fact that your tenants stick around isn't a bad thing, because in Saskatchewan, you guys don't have rent control.
Exactly.
So
yes.
that's a really
Something I didn't know
part
about.
of this whole story is that that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
Yes.
That her tenants stick around.
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of hinted at it, but we took this $32,000 and then went bought another house.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the honors?
I would love to. There we go. So with our $32,000, we purchased another house for $28,000. This was a great place as well. Didn't need a ton of work. This came on the market and we picked it up pretty quickly, but it was just, there wasn't a ton. It was really cosmetic. The one we spent $30,000, obviously it was more of a gut, but this one, like pretty much just lipstick. The condition was awesome. So we're really happy with that price. I think it was listed for 40
Oh wow!
something thousand. So we were able to negotiate quite low. the thing was they didn't have utilities on for over a year, so then you
Okay.
needed all the inspections, and it was something I think a lot of people weren't willing to do, but we were happy to do it.
Because that can be quite intimidating, say if it's
It
your
is.
first project.
Yeah, and you
the-
really don't know what could be in the pipes, like it
So-
could have been bad, but
What did this property look like? How many
Yeah.
bedrooms, how many baths? Is it another century home?
yes, it is, and it's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and I think around 1,000 square feet. That's what we usually like to stick to. Anything smaller, it's a little bit more difficult to find tenants, but yeah, pretty good space. So yeah, and renovation costs $5,600, so not huge. Total is $33,600, and I think on our last place we pulled out of our burr $32,000. So
That's
this is our
amazing.
free house.
Yeah, I love it. And so
Yeah.
5,600, you know, doesn't sound like it'd go very far if the utilities have been cut off and stuff. But so I'm guessing
Yeah.
like the HVAC system must have been fine.
Yeah.
Most of the electrical and plumbing must have been fine. You just needed to reconnect it.
Exactly. So we did have a plumber come in to do a few things. We had to get everything permitted, and I mean it did take a little bit longer, but this still only took probably 6 weeks to totally
Oh, wow,
finish.
fantastic.
So it wasn't it ended up being a good result, because it could have gone a little bit worse than that. Like if the plumbing was just terrible or the electrical needed a ton of updates, it didn't. Like they actually did a lot of work on this property before, so
Yeah.
we were lucky.
Awesome. So we're 34,000 all in.
Yeah.
Appraisal comes in.
Yeah, so this one we didn't refinance yet. So we're going to wait. We have a few properties free and clear, so we're going to umbrella them all and mortgage them all kind of under
Yeah.
one.
And so if you don't mind maybe just walking through with the audience why you decide to go, say, a portfolio loan
Yeah.
approach versus just getting individual mortgages on these smaller priced houses.
Yeah, well, it's tricky with the banks. They don't love these ones, and we don't want, like if we have 10 properties, we don't want to have to get small mortgages on each one. It just doesn't really make that much sense.
And you don't want to like maximize or max out your
Exactly.
personal mortgages on these small dollar amounts.
Yeah, we would prefer to do it in the city with the higher priced homes, so, and then hold those long term, and then eventually,
Yeah.
burr those in the future as well.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
then so you mind
So,
breaking
yeah.
down our numbers?
Yep, so rent, we get $925, expenses $253, and the expenses are so low on this one because we're using that money, we don't have any
Yeah, no
financing on
mortgage.
this, so.
Yeah.
So then we're cash flowing $672. So the total cash flow with these 2 properties is $1093.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think one of the first questions I'm probably going to get on this YouTube video is
Yeah.
why would someone ever rent when they can buy a house for say $20,000, $30,000,
Yeah.
$40,000?
It's a good
Do you-
question.
So I'm guessing
Yeah.
that probably it at least in part has to do with they have to buy this house in cash.
Yeah.
So you need literally that cash
Yeah,
amount. It's not
you
like,
do.
oh, I can debt service a
Yeah.
$33,600 amount. It's
Yeah.
no, I actually have to have $33,600 in cash in
Yeah.
order to go do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need the cash. A lot of people, like there's a lot of industry that they don't exactly know where they're going to be. Like there's the CN Railroad workers in some of
Okay.
these cities.
So a lot of
and-
temporary employment or short term.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
But those guys, like, they don't know. It could be 5 years they're working there. So it's good for us because we don't have to worry about finding new tenants for 5 years. But they don't want to buy in the town because they don't know what it's going to look like.
And I imagine like in a smaller town in Saskatchewan, like 5,000 people, if you're
Yeah.
not probably originally from that town, it's
Yeah.
probably, there's not a lot of things pulling you to want to put down roots there.
Exactly. So yeah, we've had no problem finding tenants. Like there's lists of tenants that we could rent to. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And
Yeah.
so like both these deals were done within like the last year or two, right?
exactly, within the last year.
So
yeah.
can you still find properties like this in rural Saskatchewan?
Yeah, we've been able to. Our recent property, actually, I think we paid, so our recent property we just bought, we closed on it a few days ago, but we got that one for $35,000. Huge garage, like character home, I love it, but we'll be able to rent out the garage separately and then the house, so we get a little bit more rental income that
Oh,
way
that's
as well.
great. Yeah, I love being able to rent out parking spaces or
Exactly.
garages or just any of those additional things, especially in our markets where we have rent control,
Yeah.
because those don't fall under rent control.
Oh, interesting.
So we can potentially rent out like a parking space for $25 one year
Yeah.
and $100 2 years later.
okay.
And so that kind of is a way that us with rent control, we can try to work around. But again,
Right.
in a market without rent control. That's
Doesn't
my
matter.
preference.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Britt, for kind of breaking down the numbers for us and sharing it. Really appreciate it. If people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Best way is definitely Instagram. My user is at Investor Girl Britt. That's my main platform, so I share a lot of our renovation, share a lot of tips and tricks. So yeah, follow me on there and send me a message if you want.
Yeah, and she's constantly showing the actual projects that you're undertaking. I think it's fantastic, especially like the time-lapse ones. I've
You do a lot of those.
Tons of engagement on them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fantastic. So if you guys want, I'm going to throw it in a video link down below. Jump over to Instagram, follow Britt. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you stuck around to the end, I'm going to guess you did, so make sure you smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and just a reminder, we've actually got a bunch of other videos on other amazing Canadian real estate investors and influencers. So if you want to watch the entire playlist, it's right here. If you want to watch just a one-off, we'll throw one up here. I'll see you guys in the next video.